Tonight, we open the mailbag. Stories that are strange, stories that are unsettling, stories that sit in that uncomfortable gray space between psychology, intuition, spirit communication, and something we just don't have a name yet for. A warning in the night, a presence in a closet, a dream that won't speak, and a child who knows too much. A shadow that refuses to explain itself. And yes, a couple of hauntings that didn't exactly survive daylight. Scotty the Medium and Diet Renee join me as we examine the experiences, not just what happened, but what it might mean. Because sometimes the real mystery isn't in the event, it's how it changes you afterward. I'm Dave Schrader, your host, and this is the Paranormal 60.
I'm not gonna stand here and listen to this baloney. You won't know. He doesn't stand for baloney.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me. Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Hello, my darklings, and welcome to another edition live from the Palmer House Hotel, Restaurant, and Pub in bright and sunny, but absolutely chilly Sauk Center, Minnesota. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Please pardon the fact that my growth on my face has gotten a little out of control and I'm all blotchy. I spent the weekend with 4 of my grandchildren, and they almost broke me. Almost. By the end of it, I was living in the attic, just feeding off of rat dung. I just couldn't even be around them. Children are scary, scarier than anything I've had to deal with at the Palmer House. I love my grandchildren, don't get me wrong, but there was smoke signals for help. Nobody came. Not even my psychic friends. My medium, I was up in the attic, rubbing my head. I made a tinfoil bat cowl so it could send out signals better. Nobody called. Nobody checked in on me. I was just left with 4 psychotic grandchildren, whom I love very much. But that's neither here nor there. What is here is this guy, ladies and gentlemen, Scotty the Medium. You might recognize him as the darling of social media, from Twitter to X to YouTube to Grindr. I don't know all the things. What are they called? Either way, he's part of it. He's here with us every month, at least when he can be. And he's back tonight to share a little intel with us on some of the different emails. And I've got some great ones tonight, Scotty. I know I say that all the time, but man, people keep stepping up with great stories and experiences and questions.
Yes.
This first one really engages, so I'm excited to talk to you about it. Also joining us from her very frail condition, somewhere in Scani, she has developed the croup or bubonic plague. We're not sure, Scotty. But in this case, we should probably put on masks, even though we're doing it over the internets. Don't let her beauty and radiance fool you, because she's still probably very contagious. She is psychic medium Diet Renee. Hello, Diet.
Yes, I'll just show you my shirt. It says, nope, not today.
Oh, good.
I'm with that.
You should have been wearing that to show the germs. I like your hair like that, Diet.
Thank you. Thank you. This is my last minute. Dave says, hey.
Yeah. Sarah Lemos could not join us this evening. As you know, Sarah and Scotty are a regular staple on this program. I like to try to get them in at least once a month so we can do these emails. And one of the listeners, viewers, sent in the email, and they began it with like, to Dave and Scotty and Sarah and whatever else psychic you're able to dig up this week. So I like the fact that they're engaging in the fact they like whoever we brought on. I've not had one complaint about any of the fill-ins, so don't be the first one yet. No pressure.
I'll try. I'll do my best.
Guys,
I'll use my best masculine voice too.
Yeah, no, you're very Betty Davis-ized Kim Carnes right now.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
You keep talking like that, I'm gonna have to crack a cold wind in here.
Telling you. Yeah. I'll take that.
We've got this is an interesting email. It was not directed. Normally these come in directed to the mediums and I for this. This was just like an overall email, but I wanted to share it because there were some really interesting little questions on the side quests that I thought would be great to throw your guys' way. Hello, Dave. My background is I was trained as a biochemist, so I'm a hard scientist, but I've spent most of the last 30 years as a problem solver in IT, most recently running cybersecurity for a building society in the UK, which, if you don't know, are sort of a savings and loans bank which are owned cooperatively by everyone with a savings account. I'm not married to my ideas, and when stuff happens, I always look for an explanation. So here are two off-the-wall conjectures about the paranormal world, which you are free to nick or equally as free to file in the round filing cabinet under your desk. Number one, I've always been drawn to the idea of Gaia. So could the paranormal and cryptid world be part of an immune response against a destructive and invasive animal species that actively tries to harm the planet? Oh, that's a great concept. So for those of you not following science, when you catch a cold, like young Mistress Diet over there, you get these bacteria, you get things in you, it starts floating around, multiplying, and then you have antibodies and things in you that start seeing this pervasive problem, and they try to attack it and take it down. So could it be that we are the disease on planet Earth, and what we consider to be the paranormal is really just the antibodies attacking, trying to clear us out? Wow, what a crazy, interesting concept on this. Diet, let's start in your sickened state, because we're not sure if you'll even make it through the entire episode.
Oh, I'll make it through. I may not have a voice by the time I'm done, but there you go. That's really kind of an interesting concept. And it takes me to that movie. God, I wish I could remember that, with Nicole Kidman, where she's walking through the movie and she's the one that's died. She's
Oh,
one
the
that
others.
died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they kind of do the reverse on it, and I'm thinking to myself, like, is it possible? I think anything is really possible. I tell people all the time that we know so much, but at the same time, we're only privy to this much of everything we always get. I would hate to think that, but at the same time, if you look into science, we're kind of destroying our own world around us. So I think anything's possible at this point.
Scotty, thoughts?
The universe, it works funny. Today I was researching something for a case, and I was asking questions about the Lenape Native Americans from my area, and something that I was investigating. And I came across one of their spiritual beliefs that there were little woodland people, like a lot of Native Americans believed in. And I was asking a lot of questions through the AI about understanding what those spirits do. And a lot of times the stories were told that if you disrespected the earth, that these creatures would do something to mess with you, like lead you in circles in the forest, or chase your prey away if you're a hunter, or give you a bad harvest. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like, and maybe the worse we are, the bigger the response. Like, I don't know, a 9-foot Bigfoot.
So as this question came up, I began thinking about things. So first of all, I don't know how aware you both are that there is a lot of conjecture out there that the God is male and female, which upsets a lot of apple carts, because the original kind of religious theology is that it was a masculine source, but yet we have Mother Earth. What if we've given too much credit to a God that exists in an imaginary space, and we're not paying enough attention to the God that created us, which is Earth? And maybe that is what God is it's these two forces that have come together to create this perfect shell for us, this perfect globe, this world, creating, our seeds and our eggs get together and they create something spectacular in most cases. Right? But what if we're forgetting that, there shall be no other God before me, right? What if we're forgetting that this was the big part of it? This is where it began, right? Out of nothingness, it appeared. Maybe it was willed into existence, and that's from its own will. And with the God consciousness and the God planet are the entirety of it all. And we're only paying notice to one element. And the planet is trying to get our attention. We've got crazy things happening with weather, with fires. Well, now you could say the fires are mostly responsible from idiot people throwing firecrackers out or cigarettes at the side of the road. You can blame some of that, but they've tried to fight them in ways that have worked before. And now it seems like the earth is fighting back.
Yeah.
New diseases are being released. New things are happening. It does feel like we are the fleas on the back of the dog that's trying to shake us off right now.
Yeah. People got to start acting better. Being better.
Yeah.
Treating the environment better. It's not a joke.
No.
Right.
You know, to kind of take off of that, Dave, I do a lot of talking on, I don't know if you want to call it consciousness, or, you know, just kind of giving people some awareness on how they deal with their daily living. And I always tell them that we're here to, you always hear about that we have lessons, we have, obstacles we have to create, that's why we're here. And really, I always teach them we're here for an experience. And you really are the creator of your own world. This goes back to the forgotten man, Neil Donald Walsh, which I still love dearly, even though he's been forgotten about in so many ways. But, he talks a lot about that, saying that, it's not per se a he or a she or whatever, but he does talk about we're creators, so here's my thought process. If we're always creating and we're able to create our own reality, manifest it, whatever the terminology you want to use. If you have enough people going, what's next? What's going to happen next? Oh my God, this has happened to me. What's going to happen next in my life? What's going to happen? But whatever else you're going to create, bring it at you, and in a world that we have really gone through, look at just over 100 years, industrial revolution alone. My grandma, God bless her soul, didn't know what a car was when she was born, because it wasn't there yet. And now look at how far we've come. So, if you're going to cure something, they're going to cause something to cure it. So, at the end of the day, whether you want to put it in science or you want to put it in the spiritual, metaphysical manifestation world, we're still doing it to ourselves.
So think about this. You talk about the Industrial Revolution, the things that we've created.
Mm-hmm.
We are a society of beings that like to remember, and we take photographs. And now we're creating AI templates so that when one of us goes, you can still plug in and call Dave.
Mm-hmm.
And my personality, my shows have all been dumped into one big AI generator, and it learns who I am, what I think, how I react. It searches my databases, my social medias, and how I respond to things. And it becomes this force that you can communicate with.
Mm-hmm.
What if the ghosts, right, are Gaia's way of remembering what it cared about? It's the pocket wallet size photographs of each one of us that it keeps. Now you think about the fact that we're getting to the Princess Leia hologram set real quick.
Right.
We're at that point. Gaia's got us by leaps and bounds. He's already been projecting us for centuries. And we think of them as ghosts, and what they are is collective memories that are replaying and maybe have their own AI to them in a sense. I don't know. I just think it's kind of a fascinating mind bender. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to have that opening conversation with you guys, because I thought that was
I love it.
a neat
I think it's
concept.
as in depth as it is, it can be just so simple too, So, it's a huge conversation. You can go down a rabbit hole, or you just wipe it out with one simple thought, So, based on your own personal beliefs. So
I don't believe that, because I couldn't get away from those psycho grandchildren for 4 days.
Hey, now we need to talk about that. Did I or did I not, out of nowhere, send you a picture of you and your granddaughter?
You did.
I heard you in my head.
Oh,
And I think I was sending a message going, hey, Dave, what would Dave do in this situation? Because
yeah.
That's funny.
the answer was facing you.
Oh my God. All right. So here's the second part of this email. I've also been fascinated by the idea of dimensions. Could we have done something destructive when we started to detonate nuclear weapons? I know time isn't linear, and when I still at university, a Japanese research team ran some experiments that show quantum behavior happened independent of time. Maybe the thousands of bombs that we've detonated on our planet have fractured the connections between dimensions in a nonlinear way. So that fracture opened up in the past and the future. So what we are seeing could be stuff leaking through from other dimensions, or time looping, stuff leaking from either the future or the past. Love the work you guys do. And may I add, you folks in Minnesota are not alone. The world is holding their breath with you and crossing their fingers for you. All the best, Rob. Thank you, Rob. I love thought-provoking concepts on this. What about that? Have we now? They said, right, there's this belief that the Roswell ship happened after the detonation of 2 massive nuclear bombs. As a matter of fact, one of the guys involved in the reclamation of that was involved in the dropping of those 2 bombs, right? So it's a very small world. But did we gather the attention of something out there because we've ruptured time and space by all of these things we've done on an atomic level? Wow. What an exciting concept.
He like that email got read at such a strange point. That also is in some of the research I'm doing for some things that happened here on the East Coast with something they called a secret ray, which turned out later on to be radar. But they were testing a lot of it right here on the East Coast. And as soon as they started shooting off this secret laser, strange orbs started getting reported over the Hudson Bay. So, wow, cool. Yeah, that's all right, universe. I'm listening.
Yeah.
That's really great. Great concept.
What if those foos, the things that were flying along next to World War II planes, what if it wasn't a construct, but it was a window? Like if you can imagine you're in a submarine and you're looking out, and maybe these beings are wherever they are, they're just watching. They're flying along with the jet to watch what these jets are doing. Because when you think about how many UFOs are sighted over very important moments in history.
In the Pine Bush UFO Museum in Pine Bush, New York, there's a thing with Bigfoot inside that museum, and they talk about a gentleman who was driving down the road, and he saw what looked like a door of light, and as he was driving, the door of light was moving, and inside the door, a Bigfoot was walking.
Right.
And he said he could observe it, and then all of a sudden the door closed and it was gone. So it's kind of like just like what you were just saying. What if that is a portal or a window? That is so crazy.
They tried to teach us this in the Land of the Lost. Do you remember the Land of the Lost show? With the portals and the slee stack and they always saw through a shimmery door that we were that close. Man. Oh, I love this kind of thinking. I love it. It just like I feel like if we just kept talking this letter alone,
that would be enough to do.
Boom, mind-boggling. I feel bad even rushing through it, but wow, that's.
They say a lot of Star Trek, Land of the Lost, all of those shows really were a lot of insight into our future.
Sure were.
And the longer I'm alive, the longer I believe it.
Well, it's self-prophecy, right? Self-prophecy. Gene Roddenberry created the flip phone, right?
Yeah.
To beam up, and that's what. Then you listen to the people that helped create cellular phones and got it into that small communicator-like device because of Star Trek. And so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And well, it does. And even when you look at the fact that, it was a very masculine show, who's the one that put it on the air but a female? It was Lucille Ball. So it really is bringing through those dynamics to make something great. So
I did a show on Paranormal 360 last night on WCCO that I thought was interesting. We talked about Michael Persinger and the God helmet experiments and all of the concepts of where do ideas come from? Are they just there, or did we really create that idea? Because how is it that I could create an idea and then I call Scotty and I go, Scotty, so I had this idea, and Scotty goes, oh, dude, I was thinking that same thing. So does that mean I thought of it, or it was there and I just happened to be tuned into the frequency where that idea lived, and Scotty was in that same zone? So we didn't really think of it. We just became a vessel to it.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the idea of a muse too, right? Like musicians a lot of times will talk about like, I don't know, I was just sitting there thinking of nothing, and all of a sudden a tune came into my head and I wrote it down, or I hummed it, and then all of a sudden I have this beautiful song that just comes out, and they'll be like, I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, let's get to some more of the emails. All right. Hi, Dave and crew. That's you two, the crew.
So
about 3 weeks ago, I was dead asleep when I heard what I believe was my own voice yell, "Wake up!" It wasn't a dream. It was loud, urgent. It sounded exactly like me. Same tone, same rasp in my throat, but it wasn't coming from inside my head. It was like someone was standing at the foot of my bed shouting it. I bolted upright. My heart was racing like I'd just run a mile. Nothing was wrong. No intruder, no fire, no emergency. But here's the part that bothers me. I felt like if I hadn't woken up, something bad would have happened. Since then, I've been uneasy. Was that my soul warning me about something spiritual? Was it a physical thing, like my body was about to shut down or stop breathing? Or was something trying to get my attention? Scotty, Sarah, Diet, whoever you are, was that me or something else using my voice?
I have heard similar things like that, and I always say you got to get checked for sleep apnea. And I know it sounds silly, but it's true. But I think that sometimes our body or our subconscious, our soul, something like you said in your letter, like, was I about to stop breathing? You know, sleep apnea, you can stop breathing for like 30 seconds and not know it. And that's long enough for your body to start shutting down. So if your soul was detached and you were asleep and it really wanted you to wake up, I think that that's something that could happen.
You know, it's interesting that you bring up that element of this because it was about maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I kept getting woken up in the middle of the night by something like putting their hands on my back and shoving me into the mattress. And it would like shake me vigorously until I'd sit up. And it got to the point where like around the third or fourth night, I just said, knock it off. I'm trying to sleep. And then I kind of stopped and I was thinking, and we might have even talked about it on an episode back then, Scotty, that, and it might have been you or Sarah that brought up, dude, maybe you were having an apnea moment and the spirit was trying to get you back before the big sleep. And I was like, holy cow, I didn't even think of that. So was it me? Was it my spirit guide, my mom, my cat? I don't know. Something was vigorously trying to wake me up. And it was over a span of 3 or 4 nights. And then I did remember changing the way I was sleeping and I didn't have that problem again.
There you go.
Yeah. That's kind of weird. Well, what do you pick up on it, Diet? I mean,
no, I'm going to go down that same road with you guys on that. You know, I truly believe that, you know, our soul leaves every night. So if something's going on, why wouldn't it be the one that wakes you up? You know, to say, hey, it's time's not done yet. Wake you up, and you're going to hear your own voice. You know, but I know, you know, Scotty, you know, being a medium also, I know about you. I hear accents in my head. I mean, I primarily hear. I still hear everything in my own voice. I have a lot of different accents. So even if it was a spirit coming through, you know, I'm going to hear my voice. So, yeah, I'd go down that same avenue, though. I think it's there to warn you, to wake you up, to get you to stop, to you know, bring you to attention.
Roll over, or maybe go get a doctor's appointment and get checked out.
Well, look,
that's huge.
When you hear about these near-death experiences where people see the car careening into their oncoming lane and all of a sudden they're standing on the road watching the accident happen, it's like the body ejects the soul just before death or impact. It was a great TV series called Dead Like Me. I think it was on HBO or Showtime. That
just
talks
rewatching
about
that.
Yeah, dude, it's a great little series.
Really good. Yep.
And it's, you realize how many people have those boom ejection before a massive thing, almost like we know that what you're about to go through, you're mentally not prepared for this. So they take you out until things are stabilized, which is kind of interesting. So in that case, maybe I was slipping away. Maybe this person was slipping away in their sleep.
Yeah.
And their soul reacted and was like, nope, not today, right? Yeah. Shirt coming into play again. Not today, Satan.
Not today. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go with that because my daughter at 15 was in a really bad car accident, and she lost memories probably about, I don't know, 2-3 miles from the car accident until 2 weeks after the accident. You know, there's this big span that she's like, Mom, I still can't remember, you know, what had happened, you know, but even the doctor said there had been an angel there, somebody holding her together, you know, but she's got nothing. There's no nothing of that period of time, you know. So
has she ever been interested in getting like a regression? Has she ever been interested in getting a regression?
She has. She's gone through, and the last one, it brought up enough of the memories for her that she just doesn't want to talk about it. So
interesting.
And I'm like, okay, well,
thank you, Aaron from Des Moines, Iowa. We appreciate you. This comes to us from Karen in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Ooh.
When my daughter Lily was little, she used to say, this one, I mean, this one gives me the willies. This story, when I read it tonight, I was like, oh, weird. And just starting to read it again, and my like every hackle on my body is at attention. When my daughter Lily was little, she used to sit in her room and giggle and carry on conversations. We'd hear her say things like, "Stop it," or "That's mine," or "Okay, but just don't tell mommy." When we asked who she was talking to, she always said, "My sister," or we laughed it off. I mean, she's only a child and they have imaginary friends, or so we thought. When Lily was 12, she started having stomach pain. Doctors found a mass. After the surgery, they told us it was a rare condition. She had absorbed her own twin in utero. There were partially formed tissues. The doctor actually used the phrase vanishing twin. Every hair on my arm and one in my ear is standing straight up. Dave, my daughter went pale when she overheard that. She whispered, "See, I told you she was real." She hasn't mentioned her sister since the removal. So, Scotty and Diette, could she have been communicating with her absorbed twin all those years? And if she was, did we dismiss something sacred? I feel guilty, like we shut a door that we shouldn't and that we didn't understand.
Well,
wow, what a question. Big questions.
Yeah. I'm going to say first, yeah, definitely she could have been talking to her twin sister for sure. That body had a soul for a little while until, genetically what happened. Nothing you can do about that. I actually know somebody who had something very similar. And it's a very interesting thing that happens. What I would say about closing a door, I would say you had a living daughter who was in pain, and it had to happen. So no matter what, we had to make sure that the living child was okay. And then we took care of her, right? And nobody would look at that in a bad way, I don't think. Because we got to take care of that living person. And I'm sure that soul is okay. They're probably just took a step back and are watching from further away now.
Wow, that's powerful. I mean, dude, I've been in gallery sessions when a medium will connect and say, did you lose a child before birth? Because I'm picking up a little child who's still with you. And that child now appears to be about 4 or 5. And the person gasps and they're like, yeah, 4 or 5 years ago, I had a miscarriage or whatever. And I'm just so blown away. But the spirit aged like in the same time realm. That makes me feel like the alternate universe theory is very real. And that maybe in that universe, it still exists, but the soul checks in on all of its different iterations.
It's real interesting. I don't know how Diette sees them, but sometimes I will see the baby still as an infant many years later, and it'll kind of communicate and say, I'm waiting for my mom and dad to get here before I start that life with them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when the person has siblings or like their other children, the soul will decide to age with the sibling and kind of guide them through life, which it sounds like happened here in this story. And then they just choose how to appear to us based on what would be good for the family or the person who's getting the reading.
And understand, folks, before you send me emails, I'm not saying it's a creepy story.
No.
It's just one of those kind of like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that the little girl had that experience and then was able to say, told you so.
Yeah.
Well, think about the dynamics of that, the child that was alive went through that. I mean, as a soul, she knew, she had to believe she was coming in with 2, her and somebody else. That soul still stayed with her, while she needed her. And I'm also a firm believer that even though the parents might be trying to shut her down, they're not going to. They're not going to shut down a soul. That sister's still watching. She's still there. She's still observing. She's still doing all those beautiful things. I mean, it's sacred, and no matter how many times you're trying to tell somebody to shut it down, they're not going to. They can't. We can't.
Yeah.
We don't have control over spirit. So.
But boy, it absorbed this. That Stephen King book, wasn't it? What was that one? Timothy Hutton, I think, was in the movie. And then they do the surgery, and like when they open his skull, there's an eye, and it opens up on the brain. You remember that one? Was it the other? What the heck was it called? Not The Other.
Man, that gave me nightmares. I probably cut that out of my brain because I remember seeing that as a kid and freaking out.
Yeah. That's crazy. All right. Let's do this. We're going to take just a very quick break. We'll be right back. We've got more of your emails, more thoughts, more insights from Diet Renee and Scotty the Medium. And again, we have links for both of them on today's program guide, so make sure you check them out. We'll do that right after this.
Hello, Darklings and my fellow mind travelers. This is Mark Allen Lanou, the Gemini Mind. Come take a journey with me through this place we call life by picking up a copy of my book, Reality Was Once the Tapestry of the Dreamer. Available on Barnes & Noble and Amazon online. You can find the links also on my website, markallenlanou.com. Chock full of stories about organized crime, the paranormal, my music career, NASA, and more. So go pick up your copy, and you all rock. Indeed.
All right, we're back. We're digging into the scary emails. The mailbag of the macabre. Let's go to our next story. This comes to us from Miguel in El Paso, Texas. Hey, Dave, this one makes me sound crazy, I know. But last month, I was asleep on my couch. My dog, Ranger, sleeps in his bed nearby. I woke up to a voice clear as day saying, "Get up, there's fire." It was Ranger's voice. Not barking, not whining, but actual words. I shot upright. I could smell smoke. The kitchen outlet had shorted and started smoldering. I got it put out before it spread. Here's the thing. Ranger was still asleep when I turned around. I swear I heard him speak. Was it telepathy? Did my brain translate his panic into language? Or did something use him to get through to me? Because if that dog really spoke English, I owe him more than treats. Probably a couple of apologies too, right?
Oh my goodness.
Holy cow, the idea that your dog found a way to like speak to you. It's like a Pixar movie, right? Like the toys that finally scare off Sid when they show, that they're really are alive.
Yeah.
What? Have you ever heard of this yet? I mean, I know you're an animal person.
I am an animal person, and it's so funny because I used to like steer clear of animal communication readings because of the very first one I did was just like that. And I was so confused in my head because they came to me as a guy, as a human soul, and I'm looking at it and I'm hearing it, but I'm looking at a dog, and I'm like, and my brain could not, and I went through the reading. It was a beautiful reading, but I kept seeing him as a person and I kept seeing him as a dog. And finally I said, he's really not happy with you. And she's like, well, why? I said, because you've always put him in big dogs. You're trying to put him in an itty bitty like Chihuahua or something now. And she's like, oh my God, we just went and looked at those. You know what I mean? But for me, that's how it presented the first time. And I finally at that, I'm like, you guys want me to do this? Y'all have to be dogs. Y'all have to be cats. I can't, my brain has a hard time like switching in. And I will tell you what, more recently, I've kind of been like biting my own tongue on that one because I just read not that long ago, when you get to the other side, there's no species. Like, it's like we all kind of joined back together. And I thought, well, I've demoted the dog to something else, thinking my brain couldn't wrap around this concept. So you know what? I will tell you what, why not? Why, if our soul can jump out and scream at you, wake up, Dave, why can't the dog soul scream out and do the same thing?
Yeah, they want to survive too, for sure.
We're limiting with the way we like to look at things.
Well, I like that Miguel's dog wakes him up by talking to him, and then he goes and puts the fire out and comes back, and Ranger's sound asleep again. He's just like, all right, you got it handled.
I love that story. First off, that's so cool. Yeah. Imagine like you're such good friends with your dog that it can talk to you like through that kind of sleep communication and save your life. Wow, amazing.
Yeah, I actually had a story years ago on my Theater of the Mind where a guy was woken up by his dog jumping on the bed to wake him up because of a fire. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, geez, there's a fire. And they got out. And then he remembered his dog's been dead for like a year.
Oh my God.
But he knows it was his dog jumping on the bed, barking at him. And he heard the barks and the, and it was really getting mad that he wasn't waking up.
I got the chills.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? So
Love
boy,
Love
if animals can communicate, My Mr. Mittens is no longer allowed in the room when I'm changing
Again,
because I'm doing my Buffalo Bill in front of the mirror.
If we stop, I already don't let the cats in the room when I'm doing it, just because I don't like to limit my belief on you never know what's possible.
That's kind of cool. There was a book that came out years ago. It was like a book of poetry by dogs.
Mhm.
And it was just all these ridiculous things. But my favorite one was, "Are you going to eat that? Are you going to eat that? Are you going to eat that? I'll eat that." And that was the entire poem. And it's still
That's my dog.
I still love the Bush Beans commercial with his dog. So,
Oh, yeah.
you
Bacon. Oh, is it? No, not that one.
no, the Bush Beans commercial is the dog's the
Roll
only
that
one with the
beautiful
actual
bean
recipe. And then he finds out later on the dog can talk.
Yep.
All right. This one comes from an anonymous source in Provo, Utah.
Okay.
Dave, we live a very religious community here. Appearances matter. Our 9-year-old son is different. He doesn't show off. He doesn't act strange. He's calm, thoughtful, but he knows things. He told our neighbor where her missing cat was. We thought it was a guess until they found the cat exactly where he said. He described where a missing teen would be found weeks before it happened. He casually mentions things about people we've never told him. When we ask him how he knows, he shrugs and says, "They tell me." Who is they? We're scared to encourage it. We're scared to suppress it. We don't want our son labeled or ostracized, but ignoring it feels wrong. Please ask your guests, what do parents do when a child is clearly gifted in a place that fears that kind of gift?
Every place fears that kind of gift. Ask me how I know.
How do you know, Scotty?
Because I am a lot like that 9-year-old boy that they're having all these experiences with. It's difficult as a parent. None of my kids have really shown any of those signs yet. But if they did, it's up to them, in my opinion, if they want to step out and tell people about it. I would always encourage it behind closed doors, but I wouldn't make it their personality if they weren't looking for it. Always just as a family unit, treat it with love and see what they want to do with it. In my opinion, I don't think you have to tell anybody. Ignoring it isn't wrong either. It's a personal belief, and you have to do what's right for you and your family and your life.
Maybe too, just keep a little journal. And when he mentions things out of the blue, like where a missing teenager is going to be, if you suddenly hear about a missing teenager, make an anonymous call or tip.
Yeah.
And say, go check the old mill, right? Colonel Mustard's room with the lead pipe, and maybe that'll be the way to help. Maybe he's not shocked by it because he doesn't realize not everybody can do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how I figured it.
Yeah. Diet, any insight or thoughts? Well, first of all, I'll just tell you, move to Sauk Center, Minnesota. We believe you.
There you go.
We're willing to let you be here, and we'll love you anyway. But What are your thoughts on this, Diet?
I'm living that right now because, like Scotty, we have those lives. In my life, family didn't believe me. Nobody believed me, so I was very much alone. They didn't understand it. They just didn't understand it. So, now my mom's like, "Oh my God, what did I do? You didn't do anything wrong." But my granddaughter has always presented with really strong abilities. Her parents are supportive. They're like, they look at me and they've looked at her like, if you're afraid, you've got Nani. Nani teaches, and Nani teaches everybody. Go to Nani. You got the best teacher there is. They support her in that, but they don't tell her to go tell everybody. Like it's a part. Like I explained to her, I said, this is a part of me. It's my job. It's what I do. But I don't walk up to everybody going, "I see dead people." You don't do that, and we just explained to her that it's okay to be who she is. It's okay to be afraid of the dark. It's because you know what, you're sensing something there and you can't see it, and you're new to this. She's had experiences now where we've gone to a funeral and there's the guy in the casket. And he's there talking to us, and she's like, "Whoa," and it's terrifying. It really is. But to sit there and go, "I've got you. I'm going to hold your hand through this," whether what's going on or not. Sometimes it's sitting back and realizing that, number one, everybody's born with abilities on some level. It's our natural way to get through life. Just to teach a parent that, you have gut instinct. That's quote unquote being psychic, or, you can walk in and feel that spirit. That's quote unquote dictionary mediumship. You know what I mean? For So when you're looking at that type of things, and you can explain to a parent that these are natural things, you feel them just as much as your child does. Your child
Right,
just
but we're talking about a place
yeah.
like Provo, Utah, where apparently, the structure, the religious belief systems, this is
It
something
is.
that can get somebody ostracized quickly. What
Well,
what advice do we have for them on a way to help their child feel like they're not different, like they're not, but also protect that child?
tell it's okay to tell the kid you believe them.
Yeah,
It's also, I
100%.
mean, my granddaughter, we look at her and go, you know what, honey, you're amazing. This is awesome. You see ghosts. That's awesome. Don't go to school and tell all your friends. Why? Because your friends may not understand. Now, when you get older, if you want to have that conversation, great. And we will tell her that. If she wants to get boisterous about it, I take her to paranormal places. Where
Mhm.
there you go. And
Right.
obviously in Utah, they may not
Where it's
have
safe.
as many places. But when she wants to feel free, like, oh my gosh, she can take the veil off of herself, I take her to places that I know are safe, that she can take that veil off. In the house, I believe you. You can talk to me about it. Because even in the very smallest, it's going to build trust. It builds trust between that child being able to come say, I can tell you anything, and not feel ostracized. But you can still have the conversation going, there's nothing wrong with you. We're just not going to go tell, we're not going to go tell the pastor. We're not going
Right.
to go
Right.
tell the neighbor. And that's okay. That's okay.
Part of me thinks, and I don't know how the Mormon religion works. I don't know if they believe in Jesus. I don't know if, Donny Osmond is their God. I don't know what the belief system is there. And, in one sense, I'm like, well, say, hey, look, we're given gifts. Jesus had gifts. Jesus was punished for having the gifts by people that were non-believers. We're not at that point in history anymore.
Yeah.
But
Right.
we're around people that still have some of that reserve.
They do.
Yeah, that's a tough road to hoe, and I'm sorry that you guys are going through that. If I could recommend, there's a great book by Echo Bodine
Mhm.
called The Gift, and then she wrote another book called Still Small Voice.
Mhm.
Echo Bodine is the author. Pick those up because those have been really helpful to people whose children have a gift,
Mhm.
and when you're trying to, or if you believe you're starting to come into your own gift and understand it a little bit better. But maybe try that. Denise in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania writes, my mom passed 2 years ago. Since then, I dream about her constantly. These aren't fuzzy dreams, they're vivid, realer than real. She's always there, standing in the kitchen, sitting at the end of the hospital bed, watching me, but she never speaks. No matter how much I beg in the dream, she just looks at me. Sometimes she turns and walks away. When I wake up, I feel heavy, guilty, like she's disappointed in me. Is she trying to communicate but can't? Or is my subconscious punishing me for things I regret? Is my mom mad at me? So, for those of you that are listening, we've talked about dream visitations, those moments shortly after, usually like within the first 6 months to the first 3 years after a death, that somebody will make themselves known. But even that boundary seems man made. I know people that had dreams about their parents 20 years later. Sometimes the grief holds us back from having a full moment.
Mhm.
But why do you think that if she's having these vivid, because the way she explains it's very vivid, very real,
Yeah.
but mom's not talking to her? What do you make of that?
I've heard so many people talk about their loved ones coming in dreams and not speaking with them. And I always just think about it for a minute. And I wonder if they're showing you that they're there, but you aren't ready for the message that they want to give you yet. So they're just showing you that they're present. And someday when you're ready, that message will come through. And don't always expect their mouth to move because it may not. They communicate with us in a different way. They can use just their mind. They don't need to use any energy to move a mouth or do anything like that. So um, the next time you're going to bed and you want to talk with mom, I always tell my clients and the people who come for readings this to just write a little letter and say, I give you permission to talk with me. I'm ready to hear what you have to say. Write that letter, sign it, put it next to your bedstand with that intention for them to come and talk to you. And hopefully that'll be a good tool to help that barrier come down so you can have that conversation.
Beautiful thought. You want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I agree with Scotty on that. 110 fold. A lot of times, I know my clients have come to me and I tell them sometimes they're just there to show you that they're still there with you. They're still just checking in. They're still just watching you. They
Yep.
don't have to put their 2 cents in anymore. They're letting you know, hey, I love you. I'm still here.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got a few more letters to share right here on your home for all things paranormal. I'm Dave Schrader. This is our Paranormal 60.
Did you know that radio just got a little extraterrestrial? That's right, Dave Schrader is back on radio with the Paranormal 360 every Sunday evening, 7 to 9 p.m. Central on WCCO AM 830, an Odyssey station. Just download the Odyssey app and look for the WCCO logo, follow the station, and listen live. That's the Paranormal 360 on WCCO AM 830, an Odyssey station.
I'd like to just take a quick moment to acknowledge all the amazing darklings that do tune in to my radio show, Paranormal 360. Notice I didn't say the Paranormal 360. It's just Paranormal 360 because every month our program director gives us our numbers for podcasts. And I am so proud and pleased to say that we far and away have the most listened to show on that network. And that's phenomenal. So thank you. And
Great
for those
job.
of you that aren't subscribed yet, it's a free podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. So if you're listening to the Paranormal 60 and the Paranormal 60 Network, you can also check out Paranormal 360 and subscribe to that. Now, what's neat is because it's radio, it is edited down so you don't get the news, you don't get weather reports and this, that, and the other. So each hour comes to really only about 35 to 40 minutes of content, and you get a lot of bang for your buck for free. So check out Paranormal 360, and give it a listen. Subscribe to it and help me. Let's keep blowing those numbers up. I would like to blow the doors off and show them that there is a place on mainstream talk news radio
Yes.
for compelling outside thoughts. And we're proving it. We're proving it. Guys, this
job.
is so funny. My program director, I got my numbers a couple months back and I go, wow, that's awesome. I said, look at this. I mean, I can't believe the growth. And he's like, yeah, you're doing okay. And I go, I'm doing better than okay. I'm the most listened to show on your network. And he goes, I don't think so. And I said, oh, I do. And he goes, okay, walk me through the math. And I said, look at your top show. Okay. I said, look at how many downloads you've got of that show. Okay. That show is on 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. My show is on 2 hours once a week. So I have 8 hours of content. They have 60 a month.
Right.
And if you do the math, I'm killing them. And, then he goes, and I said, and that's not to besmirch them. That's still great. I mean, they're getting great numbers, but it shows. And he did. He took it totally. He's like, wow, wow. Yeah. For 2 hours a week, you're the highest downloaded show, I guess. That's really great. So I think it's fun that we're getting people's attention. I'm so proud of it and thank everybody out there. But if you haven't listened yet, give it a listen. If you like the Paranormal 60, check out Paranormal 360. We shake it up. They're not the same guests, or they're the same guests, but totally different topics. And we do all kinds of different talks. All right, let's get back to some of these emails. And do me a favor with this one, with Paranormal 60 and Paranormal 360, wherever you listen, if you can rate and review it, even if you've done it in the past, go ahead and rate and review it again, because all those ratings and reviews that take you 5 seconds of your life to fill out go a long way to help expose my show to a bigger, broader audience. And I would really appreciate that. This one comes to us from Brianna in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Out of nowhere, I feel rage or deep sadness or moments of panic. There's no trigger. I'll be having a normal day and suddenly feel like something terrible just happened, but it didn't. It feels like the emotions don't belong to me. I'll even say out loud, these aren't mine. Are we absorbing energy from people around us, from places, from the world itself? If so, how do I shut this off? Because I don't want to feel everything. So, Scotty, Diet, is this empathy on steroids or something spiritually attached to me?
I would say this is the building block of mediumship. It's empathy. It's that first step into the bigger world. She's already identifying the fact that it's not her feelings and emotions. That's probably the hardest thing to do, stepping into the role of mediumship. I know she's asking to turn it off, but I would say it's probably easier to let that energy flow through you recognize it, know that it's not yours, and if you don't want to do anything with it, just sidestep it and say, this isn't mine, I'm not going to deal with it, and just let it go. So it sounds like the self-awareness is there. If I may, I would say you should step into it and explore it a little bit, because you might be ignoring your part of your purpose of being here. And that's definitely something that I wouldn't want you to do. Yeah.
I agree. And it always takes, and people are going to shoot me for this. They really are. I mean, because I teach a lot, and they come to me and they're all excited. I'm very empathic, and I'm like, I'm not happy for you. And they kind of look at me and they're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, to me, empathic just means you're having all these feelings and they're not yours or everybody else's, but you have no control. So let's get control now. Let's make it so that again, you're not turning on or off, but you're going, not mine, deflect it, not mine, put it that way, not mine, so that you can start to realize the difference between yours and your feelings and somebody else's and what's going on there. So I always tell somebody, if you're getting a lot coming in, it's, I don't know if somebody can actually shut it off. It's like Scotty said, sometimes it's just going with it, understanding it, finding out there's ways that you can bubble up buttercup, to kind of do I hate to use the word protection in the metaphysical world, but kind of put a buffer between you and somebody else maybe, and then start to recognize, a strong difference between yours and everybody else, because it's going to help you. If you're figuring out who you are and what your feelings are, and you're doing great all day, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, your mood starts to change, you go, well, that's definitely not mine. But more practice.
A real quick, psychic lesson for anybody who's listening, and that sounds familiar to you, what she's talking about. This is what I would do, and it's what I do often if I get those feelings and I'm not ready for them. I take a really deep breath, I close my eyes, I take account of how I'm feeling and how I felt that day, and then I just look into that part of my brain that's my imagination, or I hear my inner dialogue, and I say, okay, what am I looking at, or what can I hear? And then those thoughts or those visions will come, and that will help relieve or give me a clue as to why I'm feeling those things. And then I can work with a little bit better. And that's just kind of the start of mediumship. Write those things down, because once you start saying like, oh, I saw a pencil and I was standing outside a pencil factory that, one that existed 100 years ago, and that's why I was feeling emotion like this or whatever, that's when you can really start knowing that you're not crazy and that this is an okay thing. And it's just the way you're experiencing life right now.
And don't be afraid to set those manifest and set your intention.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the show before. And one thing, Scotty just talked about taking a deep breath, taking account of what's yours. Imagine, like, if you're watching us right now, we're each in a little bubble. Imagine you've got that bubble around you. And it's okay to say that this bubble is here to protect me. This bubble is here for love and light, and love and light is allowed through this bubble to me. Mm-hmm. Anything that is negative, draining, anything that has that kind of connotation, send it back to the sender. Now that might sound kind of crippling, but here's what I always do. I always say, with my prayer, I say, send those negative feelings and intentions back to the sender, but send them with empathy, love, and forgiveness. Because some people don't even realize they're sending you that energy. They're just tied into you. They're connected to you, and you're getting that biofeedback. Mm-hmm. So set your parameters. This is my world. This is my realm, and I'm blocking the negativity. Only love is allowed through, and everything else has to go back to where it came from, but I send it back with love. Mm-hmm. And that's all we can do in this world, right? We pray for those people that don't love us to soften their hearts so that maybe they can learn to love themselves and then be a kinder person to everybody else. That's Dave's Soapbox. Thank you for listening. This one comes from Jeremy in Buffalo, New York. Dave, I bought a used car last year. Ever since, weird things happen only when I'm inside it. The radio changes stations by itself. The rear view mirror shifts slightly. Once I smelled a strong perfume that wasn't mine or my wife's. Last week, my 6-year-old asked from the back seat, "Why is that lady crying?" Dave, there was no one there. I did some digging. The previous owner died in a wreck, not in this car, but shortly after selling it. Can objects carry energy, or am I just hyper aware because I now know the history? because I'm starting to feel like I'm not driving alone. Diet, what do you got?
Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. Matter of fact, somebody just reached out the other day and asked me about this. They're like, "Oh my gosh, does a spirit have to stick with one place? They can attach to an object. They can, there's really there's no rules. I have not seen rules on the other side. So, you've got two different ways of going at this. You can either have a spirit that's attached to the car, you know, or let's say she did cross over and it's just a residual energy that keeps going. I mean, Marilyn Monroe's been walking up and down the same stairs for how many decades, And it's just that residual energy that is going to go through, all the same processes that it did before. It's not going to change, and you'll start to feel that energy, or you might even shift your own mannerisms to it. If you sit in their energy long enough. They have this thing that if you buy a house that you had some person living there for 50 years, and they got up the same time every day and did the same thing every day, and blah blah blah, and say they're a 4 a.m. riser, and you're a 9 a.m.er, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you find you're waking up at 4 a.m. You have no clue why you want coffee every day. And you're starting to shift your own energy, and you're like, I don't know why this is happening. Well, you're sitting in somebody else's residual energy. So why can't it happen with a car or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree.
Have you ever come upon a haunted car, Scotty?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I was at some sort of ghost hunt in southern New Jersey, and this woman was standing next to me, and I didn't know her, but I kept getting like a psychic vision of a car keep breaking down. So I just kind of like started a kind conversation with her, introduced myself, and I said, I don't know if this makes any sense to you, but are you having a lot of trouble with your car right now? And she was like, yeah. And I said, okay, there's a guy sitting in the back seat of the car. He looks kind of like a surfer kind of dude, and he's really upset with the way somebody treated him. And he's been giving you a lot of trouble in your car. And the lady's like, you're not going to believe this. She said, like a month ago, my crew and I investigated a lifeguard station, and some weird stuff happened in there. And ever since then is when we've been having problems with my brand new car. It only had a couple thousand miles on it. So we talked about it, and I gave her a plan on how to make peace with the ghost and bring him back to where he belonged. And I think it worked out for them. So yeah.
Oh, did it, Scotty? Because that woman is here and she wants her car back that you told her to sell you for $50 and you would get rid of that ghost.
Look, I said it worked out, and it did. Move on.
All right, let's do a speed round. I want to get through these emails. Let's take turns. So this next one we'll throw to Diet, the one after that to Scotty, then Diet, then the Scotty. We'll try to power through quickly. This one comes to us from Tina in Memphis, Tennessee. Ooh. Dave, this sounds ridiculous, but here we go. For the past year, I've been seeing a shadow figure in my hallway. Not every night, but often enough that I expect it now. It has the silhouette of Elvis, the hair, the posture, even the slight hip tilt. I'm not obsessed with Elvis. I like a few songs and that's it. It never approaches me. It just stands there like it's waiting for something. What does that mean? Is it a spirit taking a recognizable shape? Is my brain filling in the blanks? Why Elvis? What the is actually happening in my hallway? Diet? Is the ghost of Elvis strolling in Memphis's hallways still?
If you knew how many times Elvis has come to me in readings, you'd be blown away. Like, oh, him, pictures of him, his name. I've had him pop up and look at me strange. I'm like, why is Elvis talking to me? Oh, my dad knew him. You know what I mean? So it's just,
oh, that's cool.
But when you
what is this lady dealing with?
You look at the amount of people that have been very much obsessed with him and still are, and they're impersonators. You know what I mean? You have tons of them. Why would you not? To me, it's not that it's Elvis showing up, but I'm wondering if it's more of a spirit that took on that energy. You know, just kind of, that's my thought process. You know,
that's an interesting.
Especially if you're down in Memphis, Tennessee, and you're in that area, and it's, you know, it's very much Elvis there, and it still is very much Elvis there. So I don't think he's walking the halls of everybody's house. I think he said, I'm out, I'm done, you know, or maybe he's singing at a church pew. I don't know, you know, but there's a lot of impersonators out there that are really putting on that energy hardcore.
Check out the website diedinhouse.com. Diedinhouse.com. It's like $13-14. You get a report for the house that you live in. Okay. And it will tell you everybody that lived there. people that they know died there. But you might also find out, oh, Dave Schrader lived there, but he didn't die in the house, but he died while he owned it. So maybe you get some names and then look up those names. Maybe it was an Elvis impersonator that lived there.
Never know.
Yeah. Or just somebody that lived in the 50s and had that greased back hair. So I don't know.
And listen to the music and just really put the energy there. Yeah.
All right, Scotty, this one comes from Anchorage, Alaska.
Ooh.
Every time I shave, I see someone standing behind me in the mirror, tall, thin, just out of focus. When I turn around, no one's there. This has been happening for about 6 months now. I finally tested it. I kept my eyes locked on the mirror and slowly leaned to one side. He leaned too. But when I spun around, the room was empty. Am I hallucinating? Is this spirit mimicking me or something that only exists in reflection? Please tell me I'm not losing it.
Man, you ain't losing it. That's so, when we're looking in the mirror, usually when we're shaving, it's in the morning, we're just waking up, we're still half in a dream state. And when you're looking into the mirror and shaving, it's kind of like just something that you can do on autopilot. You think about other things. So you kind of slip into a state of meditation. And mirrors are great portals. I have had issues with them since I was a child. And it sounds like you are just tapping into maybe a spirit of somebody who lived there. Or I don't know why, but I kind of got this strange feeling that it was you, but a different version of you. And I don't know how to explain that, but it just sort of, listening to the story, made me feel like that.
Dude, what if it's an older version of him just looking back on his life? What if this is kind of the reviewal process and he's just sensing an older version of himself?
Yeah.
Revisiting the simple moments. That's interesting. All right, here we go. 2 left. Dave, I've debated about writing about this for months. My husband is a good man, kind, gentle, normal, but twice in the last year, I've woken up in the middle of the night. He's been sitting straight up in bed, completely still, staring at me, not blinking, just staring. The first time I said his name and he didn't respond. The second time I reached out to touch his arm and he slowly turned his head toward me, but his eyes didn't look like him. I don't know how else to explain it. They looked empty, like no one was home. The worst part, he then smiled. Not a normal smile. It was slow, mechanical, and way too wide for his face. Then he laid back down and started snoring like nothing happened. The next morning, he remembered nothing. Is this sleepwalking, a neurological thing? Or can something step in when we are unconscious? Because in those moments, I don't feel like I'm laying next to my husband. I feel like I'm lying next to something wearing him.
An Edgar suit?
Edgar suit? Oh.
What do you got, Diet?
Well, first off, I kept going to Devil's Perch. You know what I mean? I kept seeing you there going, Dave, run. This one is a little, not that it's a little tougher, because honestly, I think it could be a couple of different things. I mean, because I'm a trance medium, you know what I mean? I do allow one consciousness come out and one come in, and, do it as in a trance state. You have to go into trance and sleep, but, a meditative sleep, you're going out. I'd almost lay on the side of maybe, more dimensional though, maybe another form of him, coming in, or from a different area coming in of his, like still his soul, but, a different memory of his soul. If you look into past lives, and we have multiple of them, who's to say that, those moments that, his soul isn't kind of jumping back into an old memory and he's looking at her, she wouldn't feel his energy because his energy wouldn't feel that way. This is a harder one to kind of look at.
Dude, it sounds like possession.
Theory. It does. And I don't want to necessarily go there. You know what I mean? I'm doing everything. I'm trying not to go into possession, because my brain went to Devil's Perch. It went to possession. It went to all of that. And I went, I don't like that. But that's why I'm like, I think it could be a couple of things, either, a possession. Hopefully it's ended. It's not happening anymore. Or again, his soul is just kind of traveling, remember different memories, which I think is much more far-fetched than the possession is.
Well, and if you're a religious family, maybe do prayers together before bed.
Yeah.
And just, without alerting your husband and freaking him out, just say, I really want to do prayer with you.
Yeah.
tonight for us to just be protected. The world's a weird place right now. And, just do that. Try that. Or the prayer of Michael the Archangel. You can find it online. It's a free prayer.
Right.
Nobody's charging for it, but read it. It's a very powerful prayer.
And I'm also going to say, to add to that, watch what you're doing right before the last hour before you go to bed. What kind of TV are you watching? What are you listening to? What energy are you taking into the sleep time with you? I tell people that all the time. You want to, we're affected in our subconscious by sometimes the most recent thing that's been going on. So.
All right. This next one is from Rachel in Boise, Idaho, Scotty. My 5-year-old always has been sensitive, afraid of the dark, sure, normal kid stuff. But a few months ago, he started telling us the tall man stands in my closet. We did the usual, showed him it was empty, night lights, reassurance. Then he started describing him. No face, long arms. He bends too much. That phrase stuck with me. One night I woke up to my son screaming. We ran in and his closet door was open. The sliding track had come completely off the rail and it's heavy. It takes force to move. My son was shaking and said he tried to come out. We checked the house, nothing, no break-in. He refuses to sleep in his room now. Is this the imagination feeding on fear? Or can children actually see things that are trying to manifest? Because the way he describes this tall man, this doesn't feel like an imaginary character.
I want you to go into your kid's room, and I want you, as a parent, to open that closet and tell whatever the hell is in there that it is not allowed to come into your house and it is not allowed to talk to your kid. I had crap like that come to me as a kid, and nobody stood up for me. If you lived closer to me, I would come to your house and help you do it. You need to take control of that. Your son is probably sensitive, which is why that entity is trying to make a move and see what it can get out of your son. Sometimes these entities use us as batteries. They raise our fear, they feed off of it and gradually get stronger. And then they start going after other people in the house, causing confusion, causing fights, and a lot of times leading to worse situations. I don't know where it came from, but as you're describing it, I can tell you that whatever looks like that, anytime I've dealt with a kid telling me about stuff like that, it's never good. So go with your instinct, be, the mama bear, go in there and put a stop to it. And if that doesn't help, find somebody in Boise, Idaho, where you live, that you can trust and won't charge you a ton of money. It should cost almost nothing for somebody to come in and help you regulate that situation.
And I'm going to put the fear of God in you right now. More importantly, go in that closet. Make sure that there's not an attic or a crawl space entrance.
Make sure it's not a squatter.
Yeah, this has been part of the news over the last decade. People that think they're having paranormal experiences only to find out somebody's been living in their attic or in the walls, and they come out at night and sneak around to get food or do things. So please check that. I know I just gave everybody nightmares saying that, but I'd rather bring that part up, and you as a cop know that's it's sadly it is part of a reality. So yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, the living don't scare me, or the dead don't scare me. The living do.
The living dead.
I've got two kind of silly stories to wrap up on. I know you guys have got time. I've used up your hour. You're welcome to stay on if you'd like to, and I'll share these last two stories. If you can't and you got to go off, I understand that as well. But yet, if people are interested in taking your classes, getting to know more about you, getting a reading, what's the best way to reach you?
My website. I have a website, Dave. Woohoo! It was down for so long. So you can reach me at dietrenee.com. That's the easiest way to find me right now.
For those of you listening, it's DeetteRanae.com. DietteRenee.com.
Yeah. I'm so excited about it. You don't even know.
And we are working on finalizing. We should have it up here by the end of next week. We have an event with Diette Renee, Sarah Lemos, Chris Fleming going to be taking place here in June at the Palmer House.
Yes.
And we'd love for you to be a part of it. So keep watching. As soon as it releases, we only have 19 rooms for rent in the Palmer House. And if you want to be a part of this event, you're going to want to jump on it quick. Mm-hmm. Again, that'll be coming out. The event's going to be in June. The information and tickets hopefully will be up, if not at the end of this week, by the beginning of next week for certain. Yet always a pleasure. Thank you, Scotty. What's going on in your world? How can people keep up with you if they want to learn things, watch you do things? What's the best way to catch you?
Catch me over on Facebook at Scott Davis. You can catch me on YouTube, Scotty the Medium, and also over on the YouTube channel Signal Network, where I'm going to be putting out very soon something I've been working really hard on called The Violent Coast. And I'm going to start you off with bootleggers of New Jersey and 3 stories of gangsters in the paranormal and my own experiences with them in the space where these things happen. It's going to be really crazy.
Awesome. Very cool. Like I said, you're welcome to stay if you'd like for the last 2 interesting stories. If
Tell us
not,
the
you have
stories,
to.
Dave.
What?
Tell us the stories, Dave. We're not
All right.
leaving.
Oh, let's go.
Here we go. This comes to us from Pete in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, for 3 weeks, I was convinced my house was haunted. Every night at around 2:30 a.m., I'd hear this low vibrating growl coming from the foot of my bed. Not loud, not constant, just this guttural vibrating rumble that felt evil. I saged the house. I called my pastor. I even slept with the lights on. Then one night, I turned on my phone flashlight and I aimed it downward. It was my bulldog on his back, legs in the air, snoring so hard his jowls were vibrating against the hardwood floor. The growl was his face flapping. So, how do you tell the difference between a spirit and a gassy middle-aged dog with sinus issues?
Oh, man.
Because I almost moved.
You would have thought he had an attachment getting to the next place and still hearing it.
Oh my God, I just love it. The fact that you're like, what the hell is that? And then you just find your fat old dog clapping cheeks, vibrating your floor. All right. This one comes from Linda in Tampa, Florida. Dave, I swear this is true. My husband and I kept smelling sulfur in the house randomly. No pattern, just bursts of rotten egg smell that would fill the room, then vanish. We had the gas company out twice. We bought detectors. Nothing. The smell always seemed to happen in the living room while we were watching TV. If it's that same bulldog and he's made his way to another house.
I was wondering.
One night it happened again. Thick and awful. That's when our golden retriever slowly stood up, stretched, and looked very proud of himself. Turns out he's developed a new treat intolerance. We blamed a demon for our dog's digestive disgrace. So my question is, how often do you think people mistake natural causes for paranormal events? And how embarrassing is it that I nearly called an exorcist because of a Labrador?
I guarantee you would not be the first.
Well, who the hell doesn't automatically blame the dog for farting anyway?
That is...
Maybe their dog isn't gassy. I've always had like boxers and black labs. They are like the fartiest animals on planet Earth. At least that's what I tried to tell my kids.
They are.
So, yeah, I love that.
Oh
That's really fun.
But yes, to answer your question, how often are real world things giving you false positives towards the paranormal? A lot. That's why you shouldn't just jump to conclusions on any of this. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Sarah, we miss you and love you, and we'll hope to see you back next month. Yeah, thanks for filling in and being a part of the show.
Oh, such an honor.
Yeah,
always
nice
a
to have
pleasure.
you.
Love you guys. Thank you very much. You know, what stuck with me tonight wasn't just the strangeness or the sense of those stories. It's the vulnerability. A voice in the dark can shake your confidence in your own mind. A child saying impossible things can make a parent question everything. Grief can blur the line between memory and visitation. And fear can turn ordinary events into something monstrous. But here's the truth. Mystery doesn't automatically mean menace. Discernment matters. Curiosity matters. But being grounded matters as well. The goal isn't to label every experience as paranormal, and it isn't to dismiss everything as coincidence either. It's to pause, to examine, to stay steady, and always blame the dog. Some experiences deserve spiritual exploration, some deserve medical attention, and some just deserve a good laugh. The power is not surrendering your balance. Thank you to everyone who trusted us tonight. These aren't just stories. They're people trying to understand moments that rattled them. And we appreciate you opening up and sharing with us here. Keep asking, keep observing, and stay steady. And remember, Dave loves you. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll be back Wednesday with the Paranormal 60 News.
Huh?
Oh, come on, Baxter. Really?